Hey guys, welcome back to One Stop Biology. Today we are going to discuss about the endomembrane system. So guys, we are right now, working on the cell biology, and we have already covered different type of cells like prokaryotic, eukaryotic cells, and animal and plant cells. And then in the last video, we discussed all about the cell membrane and the cell wall. So today we are going to cover four different systems which are considered together as the endomembrane system. Now, while each of the membranous organelles they are distinct, right, in terms of the structure and function, many of these are considered together as an endomembrane system because their function is coordinated, right? So there are four different organelles which are part of the endomembrane system. Now, the endomembrane system includes first the endoplasmic reticulum, second, Golgi apparatus or the Golgi complex, third, lysosomes, and fourth, vacuoles. Right? So there are four different organelles which, because of their coordinated functions, are considered as endomembranous systems. Now, since the function of mitochondria, chloroplast, peroxisomes, these are not coordinated with these organelles, they are not part of the endomembranous systems. So let's start with the endoplasmic reticulum. So what exactly is endoplasmic reticulum? Now, these are basically a network, right? And the other word or the other term used for network is nothing but reticulum. So these are basically a network or a reticulum of tiny tubular structures, and these are scattered in the cytoplasm, and these are known as endoplasmic reticulum. So these are basically network of tiny tubular structures. These are network of tiny tubular structures, and these structures are basically scattered in the cytoplasm. That is why the endoplasmic reticular is divided, basically divides the intracellular space into two distinct compartments. So the ER or the endoplasmic reticulum, it divides the space inside the cell, the intracellular space, into two compartments. One is luminal, which is inside endoplasmic reticulum, which is inside ER, and the other is extraluminal. This is basically the cytoplasm outside ER, which is the cytoplasm basically, right? Now, the endoplasmic reticulum also shows ribosomes attached to their outer surface in some cases. Now, the endoplasmic reticulum bearing ribosomes on their surface are known as rough endoplasmic reticulum. They are known as rough endoplasmic reticulum. And if these ribosomes are absent, basically they appear smooth, and that is why they are known as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So basically, we have two different types of endoplasmic reticulum on the basis of whether they have ribosomes or not. So if they have ribosomes, the surface appears to be rough, and that is why they are known as rough endoplasmic reticulum. And in the case where they are not present, the surface appears smooth, and it is known as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Now, the rough endoplasmic reticulum is usually very frequently observed in cells which are actively involved in protein synthesis and secretion of protein. So basically, guys, if you remember translation, or if you will you'll study translation in class 12th, you'll see that rough endoplasmic reticulum plays a very important role, and it is the site of synthesis of protein, right? So you observe rough endoplasmic reticulum in cells which are actively involved in protein synthesis, and they are extensive and continuous with the outer membrane of the nucleus, because transcription happens inside nucleus, and then the and the messenger RNA is transferred to the cytoplasm for translation. So it is transferred just outside the nucleus, and that is why you will see rough endoplasmic reticulum very near or very closer to the membrane of the nucleus. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum is the major site of synthesis of lipids, basically. So, in animal cells, lipid like steroidal hormones are synthesized in smooth endoplasmic reticulum, right? So, if you see the structure as well, this is the endoplasmic reticulum. Now, if you see here, basically what you see that this is the one which is rough and it has tiny dots here. These are ribosomes. So these are rough endoplasmic reticulum. These are the ribosome. You have nucleus and you have the nuclear pore. And these are the smooth ones where you do not have ribosomes. These are the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So this is the structure of the endoplasmic reticulum. Now let's move on to the Golgi apparatus. So what exactly is Golgi apparatus? Let's see that. Let me just clear my screen quickly. Yes. No, so guys, in 1898, a person known as Camillo Golgi, on basically, on whose name Golgi apparatus has been named. So Camillo Golgi first observed a densely stained reticular structure. Again, it is a networked structure, right? So basically Camillo Golgi for the first time observed densely stained reticular structure near the nucleus, right? These were named Golgi bodies after him. So basically Golgi apparatus consists of flat disc-shaped sacs or cistern. And what is the diameter? 0.5 micrometer to 1 micrometer in diameter. So what he observed was flat, disc-shaped sacs or cisterns. So it can be named as sac or cisterns, and the diameter of those discs is 0.5 to 1 micrometer. Now these sacs, these disc-shaped sacs, are basically stacked parallel to each other. Right? Now, varied number of cistern or sacs are present in a Golgi complex, and the Golgi cisterns are concentrically arranged near the nucleus with distinct convex cis or the trans phase. So basically, this is the structure, guys. Now they have two phases, right? One is the cis phase, the other one is the trans phase, right? The cis phase is also known as the forming phase. Cis phase or forming phase. So at this end of the Golgi apparatus, the Golgi bodies are forming basically. The other one is trans phase. Trans phase is also known as maturing phase. So towards this end, the Golgi bodies are basically maturing, right? So one is the cis phase and the other one is the trans phase. Now the cis and trans phases of the organelles are entirely different, remember, but they are interconnected, right? Now what is the function that the Golgi apparatus performs? So the Golgi apparatus performs the function of packaging of materials, packaging of materials. Now, what kind of materials? So these are the materials which are, to be delivered. Now, these are delivered either to the intracellular targets, that means targets inside the same cell, or these materials are also secreted outside the cell toward to different other cells. So these materials to be packages are basically in the form of vesicles. These are in the form of vesicles from the endoplasmic reticulum fuse with the cis phase. Remember, so basically say this is the cis phase, right? So the materials which are to be packaged fuse with the cis phase, right, of the Golgi apparatus. And they move towards, say, this is the trans phase, this is the other phase. They move towards the trans phase, which is the maturing phase. Now, this is why Golgi apparatus remains in close association with the endoplasmic reticulum, because, as we said, that materials to be packaged, they basically come from the ER, they fuse with the cis phase, and then they move towards the trans phase, right? Now, a number of proteins are synthesized by ribosomes of endoplasmic reticulum, right? Now, these are modified in the cistern of the Golgi apparatus before they are released from the trans phase. So, basically, these proteins which are secreted in the endoplasmic reticulum, in the rough endoplasmic reticulum, are first packaged in Golgi apparatus and then they are released to their target, right? Now, basically, because of this, Golgi apparatus is a very important site of what? Formation of glycoproteins and glycolipids. So basically, all the materials coming out of rough endoplasmic reticulum, which are proteins, and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which are lipids, are first packaged in Golgi apparatus and then it is released either inside the same cell or in the adjacent or other cells, right? So that is why, again, endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus work in close association, and Golgi apparatus plays a very important role in packaging of all these important materials. Now, the next that we have to study is lysosomes. Now, what exactly are lysosomes? Guys, lysosomes are basically vesicular structure. They themselves are present in the form of vesicles. So these are membrane-bound vesicles. Now, why do I say that? Because all the organelles of eukaryotic cell are membrane-bound, right? So lysosomes are membrane-bound vesicular structures, and these are formed again by the process of packaging of Golgi apparatus. They are formed by the process of packaging in Golgi apparatus, right? Now, the isolated lysosomal vesicle, they are found to be very rich in all types of hydrolytic enzymes. What? Hydrolytic enzymes. So, hydrolytic enzymes like, say, lipases, proteases, carbohydrates, right? So they are basically optimally active at the acidic pH. Now, these enzymes, guys, remember, these enzymes are capable of digesting nucleic acids, lipids, proteins, carbohydrates. So basically, lysosomes are vesicles, they are membrane-bound vesicles, which are rich in so many things, so many different type of lytic enzymes, hydrolytic enzymes. So again, it plays a very important role in digestion of all these important substances inside the cell, like carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. So guys, the last that we have to cover is vacuoles. Now, vacuoles again and are membrane bound, right? So these are membrane bound space which is found in the cytoplasm. Now, it might contain, so vacuole may contain water, sap, the excretory product, or different type of materials which are useful, which are not useful for the cell, right? So basically, the vacuole is bound by a single membrane, and this membrane is known as tonoplast, right? And in plant cells, vacuole occupy 90% of the total volume of the cell. So when we were discussing the plant cell, we discussed that they have a big single central vacuole present, right? So this central vacuole, occupies 90% of the total volume of the cell. And in plant, the membrane tonoplast basically facilitates transport of various number of ions and other materials which are against the concentration gradient into the vacuole, right? And that is why their concentration is significantly higher in the vacuole than in the cytoplasm, right? So this happens in plants. Now, in the case of amoeba, there is a contractile vacuole which is very important for excretion, right? So what happens is they just accumulate all the excretory waste inside the contractile vacuole, and then it goes near the outer membrane of amoeba and it discards all the excretory waste outside, right? Now, apart from that, in various in protists, what happens? There are food vacuoles. Now, these food vacuoles are formed when the protist engulfs the food particle from the outside. So, you engulf the food particle and you form a food vacuole inside your cell, inside your body. So, again, these are membrane bound spaces, and these basically are used as to remove waste from the cell and to gather food as well in some cases, right? So, guys, if you see this, the endomembranous system is nothing but various organelles formed from extension of the membrane system of the cell, right? So again, to just sum up all the organelles that we studied today, we studied endoplasmic reticulum, which plays a very important role in synthesis of proteins and lipids. Then we studied Golgi apparatus, which is again membrane bound and it helps in packaging of material, right? Then we studied lysosomes, and lysosomes again are membranous structures. They are vesicular structures and they have various hydrolytic enzymes in them. They are abundant, they are rich in hydrolytic enzymes, which helps in digesting carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. And then we have vacuoles, again membrane bound organelle, and it is present in the cytoplasm, and what it does is it either helps in getting the food inside the body or getting all the undigested excretory waste outside the body, or even excreting water, sap, and different other products which are not useful for the cell. So with this, we are done with the endomembranous system. And in the next video, what we are going to cover is mitochondria, right? Again, a very important organelle for the cell. So guys, I hope you understood the endomembranous system completely. If yes, please do not forget to like the video and share it with your friends. And if you're new to the channel, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel for all these interesting videos that I'll be making in future. And if you have any doubt, please do not hesitate in asking your doubts. You can either post it in the comment section of this video, or you can also message me on WhatsApp and ask your doubts. And I have given the WhatsApp number in the description of the video. See you guys in the next video, guys. Bye bye.